What do athletes do after major events in these games, like over the course of the past week or so? That athletes, what do you do at this point in time? And what we want to discuss with you all today is realizing that you're in control over this part of your life where a lot of these athletes that you see will be totally catapulting their lives after this week of just most competitive levels of competition that there could possibly be. In the Olympics, they showed you what people are doing when they're not watching Netflix. These athletes gave every single thing that they had over the course of this weekend and last week. And what we want to keep our minds on is what happens to the athletes after these events, because there was great swimming. I love diving. Believe it or not, I got an opportunity to look at the breakdance competition, and the US finally had an opportunity to kind of get some credit for the something that they created, and then they got a bronze medal. But lo and behold, other countries are taking that opportunity just like they are in boxing. So we will definitely get into that. What's going on with the US boxing team and what's going on when these athletes finally get their chance to shine. I'm going to tap into something and without any holding back. I'm not going to bite my tongue. You set yourself up at these Olympic games so that your life will go north when you get done. Now, if you haven't done some of the things that you got to do, you're in for a tough halt. But don't take this with a grain of salt. I say it every week, I say it every day, multiple times. Please be conscious of building up attention because attention matters. If there was no attention on Susan B. Komen, there would be no cures for cancer in the medical field because people wouldn't be paying attention to it for females with breast cancer, or if no one steps out and speaks about something. So, no matter what you're doing, you got to be paying attention to the people that are asking for more help. So, special shouts out to you. Thanks for taking the time to hop in with us because the course of the weekend, what we wanted to do is say, what does Monday look like for these athletes? And when you're training and working with these athletes, or all of my coaches who are out here doing this work, you have to have them mentally prepared and geared up to do what they'll need to do when they get back and get settled and get their minds. They've gone through so many emotions. One of the cute girls and her husband was on their feed. They have a very fun Facebook, Instagram. I'm sure they have a TikTok and a YouTube. But she was one of the medalists that just literally breaking records out there. And her husband is also a gamer, but you could see what they had done. They had put their stick together and they literally support one another. One of the things that I know is that they have to support one another because of the content they create. Everything, every moment, every second of every day, they're making sure that they capture something that will either motivate you, inspire you in a different kind of way. Because motivation is saying you go and you're just pumped up to do something. Doesn't mean you're going to do it. When you're inspired, that means that's a direction. You're taking course of action. Now, I don't know what was your favorite sport over the weekend and what is your favorite sport overall? What is that? Because what we want you guys to realize is that this is the opportunity for you to start learning about how to take your stuff to the next level by helping other people out figure out what they do. But when you look at these people, we talk about the boxer athletes. Why are they going through what they're going through? What are they going through what they're going through? Who would have thought that we would have got one medal and bronze on top of that? right? So I did a poll yesterday, and I was kind of leaning towards that. It was a little disappointing when you have a country that used to put fear in other countries. When the boxing team showed up with Sugar Ray Leonard, the Spinks brothers, and Howard Davis Jr., like when those dudes showed up, and then the next circuit of these guys in 80, the 80 and I mean the 84 Olympics, yeah, Holyfield, Sweet Pea, Mark Breland, Terrell Biggs, Meldrick Taylor, like that was the scariest as it gets. Then in 88, you had Evander Holyfield, the Roy Jones Jr. era. Just how did that go away? And it lets you know about process systems. That's what I see. And Andre Ward was on the record speaking to Brian Custer, and he spoke to what this is all about. He didn't get into depth, but we need to get some structure because in LA it needs to be tight. If they're going to have boxing in the Olympics, it needs to be the kind of boxing that shows that we produce bananas amateurs. But I think what's happening is there are people who know that there's a direct line from them going directly to the amateurs and bypassing the Olympics and going straight pro and not really putting everything in their baskets of learning to want to box more like an amateur. But the Olympic boxing committees is a really tricky thing. And what I got to see was a lot of what is actually going on with the athletes and the way they're fighting. It's not just that they're fighting, it's the way that they're fighting. I didn't really see anybody bite down on their mouthpiece and go mano a mano and throw those kamikazes to the belly from the body to the head. And that's rule number one when you're learning elite boxing is that it's not just your techniques anymore. Now you have to bring ass to get ass. The judges can't tell what you do in sparring. And they also don't judge what you do in sparring. And so, why are you sparring when you should be out there fighting to win gold? There's no one going to win gold by accident. When you win gold, you're going to win gold. Even the guys that were in the gold medal round against Roy Jones Jr. and Evander Holyfield, maybe they really lost those fights. They did. But guess what? They had to bring ass to get that far. And so nobody who's fighting for gold is there by accident. You got there because you can't slip into the Olympics. There are nothing but barriers after barriers. And when it's all said and done, we didn't get the opportunity to really see America shine in that area. So that was the only thing. But when it came down to the medal count and when it came down to having these moments, they were awesome. I truly enjoyed seeing a lot of the other competitions, got I mean, with the track and field, they represented, I mean, they came and showed pride and they came to show up. They wanted the rest of the world to know that in the US, we have the fastest, most explosive, dynamic athletes. It's not even an argument. Let's just say we tied with China with gold at 40, but we got over 70 medals almost. Yeah, like 65, 66. We double. I mean, we got 20 plus medals more than anybody else collectively. But let's be honest, you haven't really made it until you made it into American. And this isn't nothing about where you live, but everybody around the globe knows who sets the bar, who sets the standard for the Olympics, regardless if we win the most golds or not. What we got to do here is we have to set the standard again of why people respect us. We have to set the standard that starts inside of your gyms, your training camps, your training centers. We have to prove and show why we are seen how we are seen and why we're envied around the world. And this isn't to knock anybody. So if you're getting wrinkled, unwrinkle your shirt, because this is just a cry to my other coaches that are collectively here. I'm educating people all over the world. So to be honest, you can't get salty with me because I'm probably the reason why some of the other countries are meddling, because it's proven that our training programs are the ones that are being used. We just want our guys to use them better when it comes down to the Olympics. That's the only time that you say, hey, all right, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. After that day, we back at it. We can get back into it. But my whole commitment is to the game of boxing. So it doesn't matter where you are. But what I want those athletes to do, those who are aspiring to be in the Olympics or to transition from amateurs to pros, just know when you come into pros, it's levels. And that's not people, we don't say that just to say it. It's levels because it's a lot that you got to learn that you won't learn when you're boxing. You can have 5,000 amateur fights. You won't learn what you're going to need to know in prize fighting, because prize fighting is for a prize and it's fighting, not boxing. So, with that being said, hopefully that is something that you will take away, because we're not here just to blow smoke. We're here to make it clear to you what boxing is all about. So if you want to be a boxer, if you want to train boxers, if you want to run a boxing program in a fitness center, just understand there's a process in which you use to have the most success. And that's making sure that it's built in a system. The sparring system has to be designed, because you have to fight a different way in the Olympics than you fight anywhere else. The scoring is really set for people to throw a lot of punches and land a lot of punches. And when you're fighting regular tournaments, you have the white part on the glove and all of that, because you got the headgear, because they have to see the punch land in order for you to get a score in amateur boxing. In the Olympics, you don't have headgear anymore. So you don't need the little white stuff on the glove. What you need to do is go out there and throw your hands and let them land on the opposition more times than they land on you, clearly. And show display footwork, display your hand skill set. And don't think you can get that stuff, piece it together from all over the platforms. When you're doing this, I'm going to give you game. If you're going to not follow somebody, what you have to do is get knowledge and make sure that it is solid. It's been proven, what you see and what you're going to say, this is going to be my process, that it's been tested over the test of time, and that you understand the theory behind everything that you're going to apply. Because with doing anything comes a counter. And that's what you will find in the amateurs going to pro. And when you go to pros, there's answers for everything that you do instantly. So don't be delusional and take this thing by stride. Enjoy this thing. Enjoy this ride. Because when you start boxing, that's your opportunity to become something twice as great as you would have if you would have tried to do it without boxing. So the athletes did good. There'll be athletes that their life will change forever when you think about the Olympics. Why is it that athletes will have a different life? Because opportunities position you to start putting the right people around you. So when people want to reach out to you to give you an endorsement or to endorse your brand and partner with you, you're going to need someone to speak up for you so that you understand how to negotiate that. Because anytime you put time into anything, you need to know what's going to come out of that thing. And when you know how to negotiate it, that means it's going to make your life better. How will doing this business endeavor make my life better? This is going to improve your quality of life. All people want to know is the outcome of what is it going to do if I decide to do a deal with Under Armour or Nike. These are the questions that athletes will need to have answered before they say, I'm going to do something with you. These guys' lives are going to go on a trajectory this way. And the other guys are going to come out of the Olympics. And what's going to happen when they leave the Olympics? They will ride on that wave for a very, very short time. They will get so much dopamine rush from looking at that gold medal, that silver medal, that bronze medal, or just the experience of going and competing at the highest level, knowing that you'll get another opportunity. But guess what? It's 4 years. What will you do in the meantime? This is where you have to really concentrate on knowing when you got the platform that you start building your personal brand. Then what does that look like? It's all about a message. You see, one of the messages that Apple would always let you know when they gave their speeches is anyone who was on the podium would say, "We believe." See, because Apple believes in the culture of things. So that's why people who have iPhones and those earpods, see, they're a fraternity of people who are friends. They have something in common. And that thing that they have in common is a culture. And that culture believes in something, that higher thinking, that brand, that broad bandwidth. See, people with Apple, they like structure, they like order. So if you got all the Apple products, everything's succinct. There are no outside interferences. Since I've been with Apple, I haven't had viruses on my computer. Whereas when you are dealing with any other service or software or computers, that's a part of it. And so to have that, I feel like I'm in an exclusive club, just to have that removed from my life and never have to worry about viruses because everything's in house. That's a big deal. So, what is your brand? What is your message? What do you believe in? Think about that. Think about that. Because once you start to use the platform while you're still hot, don't wait till you're coming off of your hiatus and then start realizing, oh, and then you start seeing some of your other people. You start seeing some of the people that you were competing with. You start seeing them doing brand deals and start having relationships with companies, and you didn't do it. You didn't handle what you needed to handle. So now you're kind of just left out in the cold. Don't let yourself be in that position. And if you do things right, like take your social media serious. When you post, what will you say that people would love to hear? What can you do that people would love to see? And what is something that you want to find out about people on your page that you haven't asked them yet? Do a poll. And when you do those kind of things, what that lets other people do is it lets them know that you are thinking about what they think. And when you do that and people respond, as you can see, we take ours serious. We had polls over the weekend and we learned about a lot of different people, a lot of different situations, and a lot of different scenarios. And what happens when you're able to do that is now you have data to communicate. And now I've built relationships over the course of the weekend, over the course of the week, because it's all about building a culture of people who think like you or believe in what you believe in. They don't have to believe in everything you believe in. It's just like-minded, wise people, people who are aspiring to go to the next level. And when you do that, that's what the companies are looking for. How would I know? because I'm a CEO myself. So when I meet people and talk with people, 9 times out of 10, they are CEOs too. They may be CEOs over the company that you work for. They may be CEOs of a Fortune 500 company. We break bread, we talk, we discuss business growth, how to serve better, how to be more impactful. And when you're doing that, you're going to find out more about what companies expect and then more about dealing with people on the level down here doing your post that they also have a commonality. They want something for themselves that's going to connect them to their higher self. So it's worth doing those polls and having the concentrations. And that is how you're going to connect with people when you're out there and you got an opportunity to big stage. But please, what you want to know what happens to athletes that don't take advantage of the opportunity when they have the big stage? They're lost. But if you're aspiring to be great, it's okay to say, I need some help. Focus on getting yourself positioned with people who will invest in you because that is available. We've helped. We actually did an investment just this weekend because we saw, matter of fact, two. We saw the opportunity to get someone who was in a position that they have everything that it takes. And what do investors look for? What do investors look for? Investors look for people who know exactly why they do what they do. And investors look for people who know exactly who is it that they aspire to work with or to serve, as far as whether it's a product or whatever. When you know those things, the investor knows that's where I'm going. I'm investing into the person. I'm not investing into their whole idea, because that's not how it works in the world of investing. We invest in people who know why they do what they do. And you don't say, I know what I do. I love what I do, what I do because I love it. That's not an answer. All right. So if that's your answer, that's why you don't have an investor. But an investor will invest in the person. So if you're a good person, you're aspiring to do great things, but you also have a plan and you have a purpose. And that purpose, I could give you a list of purposes that you could be doing it for, but it's always more than what you think you're doing it for. And when you have nailed it, that's where an investor will say, hey, here, we did one that will lead to a $30,000 investment, one that was lead to a $4,000 investment. It's all about knowing how much value will the person bring to that investment, because you're not investing to see them stay in the same place. You invest in people to see them at the level that you are at or further, because greatness isn't about you accomplishing things. Greatness is about you showing someone how to get further than you did. It's the feet on shoulders concept. You didn't reach this level to just reach this level. You reached this level so that you could bring someone else to that level. And that person will then grab someone else. And now you're a part of a much different cycle. Hopefully that one landed, because that's what this is all about. Because you can only get so much money, you can only spend so much money. You have to start being very intentional with your time and how you operate your life. And when you can do that, that's when you start to reach different levels. Let me get this question. Um, well, we're not talking about boxing right now, but I appreciate you, my people over on YouTube. Uh, this is the key. Just remember, y'all, keep your mind in the right place. Make sure that you take what you do every day, including your just basic stuff on your social media. Get a profile picture if you care. Maybe you don't care, but you never know who's watching. And if you're an Olympian, because I definitely appreciate all of the entertainment that they gave us over the course of the weekend. The men's basketball team won gold. Soccer did their thing. You know, our runners crushed it. Our divers, our swimmers, well, not the divers, but the swimmers, breakdance, we got bronze. All of these things happen. But what happens next? Because next is now. Don't allow yourself to be in that position that you didn't manage what you needed to manage, which basically just get yourself in a position where you know what you're focused on, what your purpose is. Know your purpose. And that purpose is deep. So pull that deep purpose out. And so when investors are looking to have conversation with you, which I've done over the course of the weekend, and then I realized the individuals that I need to invest in are directly under our banner. So we are asking, what is your purpose? And who is in that circle with you? And when you know those things, you're worth investing in. And we'll show the people that we invest in how to build on that momentum is the key. All right. So if you're that one step away, make sure you get to this next step to learn what you do next, because the opportunities are there. The capital is there to invest in the right people who are doing the right things. And if that's you, you don't play around with this, boy. You got to go out there and Michael Phelps this thing. You got to go out there and Michael Johnson this joint. You got to be out there like Flojo. You got to hit the corners like Usain Bolt. You got to be in the world of diving like Greg Louganis. You got to be world class in whatever you do. And that is what you need to do too. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. So hopefully now these guys will go into the sport in the 2028. And if there's any up and coming athletes who are boxing in the US and you're under the age of 18, we are sponsoring 100 athletes. 100 athletes we're sponsoring. Reach out to the page and we're going to show those guys exactly how to win at the higher levels of this sport. So if you're an amateur boxer and you're under 18 or under, we're going to be sponsoring 100 kids that we want to win gold. And believe me, I'm going to teach them what to do. The process is the process. And I think all the people who are a part of this journey for me to put me in a pool of Olympic tenures so that I can pass down that system. So if you're young and you're trying to get that system, we got you covered. If you're above the age of 18, you can get it simply by typing school and then go to your inbox and check your general folder. That means your DMs, and you can go in there and register right there. Those of you who are 18 and below, we got you covered. So Coach Bradley signing out. Until next time, special shouts out to everybody out there. We take the time to thank you for watching and hanging out with us over here in Master Boxing and making sure that as you grow, you build. You just build, you grow, and you grow and you build. You start to feel still. You start to be ready. You start to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And until then, the next time you get in front of somebody that's ready to get behind you financially, you'll be ready to rock. Whether you compete, whether you manage, whether you are just an entrepreneur, that you love doing what you do and you just love helping other people, then it's all about learning. That's all I got. Be blessed at God's speed. Remember, if you're trying to get yourself to the next level, believe in you first, and everything else will fall like dominoes. Coach Bradley signing out. So long.